The power of positivity.
The power of positivity.
Power of positivity.
If you think in a positive way, you'll have positive.
I am sick and tired of this only positive mindset. I am sick and tired of this always be happy, always be in a good mood mindset, because it's not real and it's not realistic. Like, I think we need to realize the fact that it is okay to have emotions. That's what makes you humans. And emotions are not only one thing. They're not singular. They're a variety of things. And it's acceptable for you to have any of those things. I feel like one of the major things that we have nowadays is the idea of toxic positivity. Everyone wants you to be positive and look at the positive in every situation. And I'm not big on dwelling on situations, but I'm also big on acknowledging things. Like, you literally could be like, oh my gosh, you know, someone close to me just passed away, and it's like, well, be appreciative of the time that you had with them. You should be so happy. Or you can say, I just lost my job. Oh, well, be appreciative of, you know, the fact that you had a job. You know, there's people out here that don't have a job. And it's just like, I get it, but I lost my job. Like, can I be in my emotions too? I had a situation happen to me last year where me and my dad got into an argument on the phone, and I called my mom after and I told her about everything. I was crying, and she was just like telling me to be positive about the situation. She was like, oh, you don't need to cry and everything's gonna be okay and da 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 da. I just poured my heart out to this man and he hung up on my face. I am sad. I'm going to be in my emotions. But she was just trying to tell me, like, don't, like, essentially be in your emotions. Like, don't think bad things, don't think bad thoughts. And I feel like that's toxic positivity. Like, she was trying to be good about it. It wasn't her trying to, like, be mean or anything, or like to push me down, or, you get what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like, no, I need to be able to acknowledge those things. Like, if something happens to you that can provoke enough emotion to make you cry, to provoke enough emotion, even sometimes to make you mad, acknowledge that thing. Like, obviously figure out why you particularly feel that way, but I feel like we also need to be able to acknowledge things. Now, don't get me wrong, I did recently create a video talking about gratitude and being appreciative, and I also am very big on gratitude as well, but maybe I'm different. I look at gratitude as a tool less than being an emotion. So when I think of gratitude, I mentioned it on the video that I'm talking about, which I was saying, like, if you don't have a car, instead of being mad every single day that you have to ride the bus, like, oh, I don't want to ride the bus, oh, the bus stinks, oh, the bus this, use that as a time period to figure out how you're going to get you a new car. So that means you need to be reading books on a bus, you need to listen to podcasts. Like, that's how I think of gratitude, as a tool more so. Like, figure out the things that you already have in your life and how can you use those things to get more instead of dwelling on what you don't have. But it doesn't mean you can't be in your feelings or your emotions. It doesn't mean that, you know, you missed the bus today and you can't cry because you missed the bus and that was the last bus that's going to take you to work on time because you don't have a car. Like, I don't know. I think there's this thing of like this toxic positivity, and we always have to be positive. And if you're positive, your life will be better. And it's like, no, all you're really doing is telling people to suppress their emotions. All you're really doing is telling individuals that they shouldn't be a human, like they shouldn't experience things, and that is perfectly normal. Not dwelling on things. I'm very big on giving myself like a certain amount of time, and it depends on the situation to like feel. I cry. I had a situation happen last week where I literally took like a 45-minute drive out to like a mall that's like 45 minutes away because I'm like, you know what? I need to let this out, and I don't want to let this out the way I want to let it out right now. So let me just take a drive, clear my head. And that was just what I needed during that time period. But I wasn't about to sit around and act like I was happy, because I wasn't. We're scared of being an unsuccessful version of ourselves because we'd rather be a successful version of what everyone else wants us to be. I want you to understand, you're scared of going after your dreams. You're scared of accomplishing your goals. You're scared of essentially being different because you don't think you're going to be accepted. And we don't understand how that acceptance literally holds us down and causes us to morph essentially into someone that we wouldn't even recognize 10, 20 years ago. Like, a lot of us, if we showed our younger selves who we are today, our younger selves would be like, what happened? We said we wanted to do this. We said we wanted to do that. And so we use the excuse as we grow up, oh, I had to be realistic. Life started to get real. And it's like, no, you started going in a direction that people told you should go into. You start going into the direction that was safe. You went in the direction that everybody else went in. And I feel like that goes back into the toxic positivity because we convince ourselves that we're happy with this life. There's so many people that are living a life that they don't enjoy. There's so many people living a life that they essentially don't like, but they convince themselves that they're happy because it's like, why wouldn't you be happy? You have a job. Why wouldn't you be happy? You have a family. Why? And it's like, because this is not what I want. That's why a lot of people aren't happy. It's not necessarily that they don't have something, but they don't have what they want. And I recently made a post on my community page where I post morning and afternoon daily quotes. Follow me to see those. And it was a quote that says something to the effect of, either you can live a more traditional life and you can just be okay with what goes on in life and you could just work a traditional job and just, kind of just coast off, which is one thing, or you can go after your higher self. You can go after the self that you know is going to literally hurt you sometimes because you're going to be tired when you wake up. It's going to be frustrating sometimes because you might not always, essentially get everything that you want to get every single time. And either is fine. Like, you can live a life that's quote unquote safe, or you can live a life that's kind of more risky, and either one is fine, but you have to make a choice. And I feel like what a lot of people haven't done yet is consciously make that choice. You've already made that choice whether you realize it or not. By you pretending that you are okay with your situation, by you pretending that you're happy, because you can't not be happy, right? You can't not express how you feel because there's everybody that's going to tell you, well, be grateful, will be this, will be that. You can be grateful and want more. You can be grateful and still not be essentially positive. Like that, and that's the whole thing with going with emotions. You can be grateful for what you have and still feel like, but damn, I want more. Yes. And go after those things, but stop putting on this face. And then it's so hard because it's so easy to say it, but a lot of people are living like that and they don't realize it. They don't realize that they're not truly fulfilled. They don't realize they're not truly happy. I think it's a case-by-case basis. Like, you have to do a lot of soul searching, a lot of shadow work to figure that out. But I feel like a lot of people don't notice it because society convinces us that we should be happy. Why aren't you happy? You have a job. Because this isn't the job that I want. And I want you to understand, you are always going to have bad or negative thoughts. They're never going to go away. And even for myself, like, I create self-help content and I create content helping people, hopefully become a higher, better version of themselves. But I still sometimes have negative thoughts. Now, the difference is how I deal with them. And sometimes the difference is the magnitude of the thoughts and the power of the thoughts. Like, before, some of my negative thoughts can be so debilitating that I don't want to wake up. Some of my negative thoughts can be so debilitating that I don't even want to talk to people because I'm such in a negative mood. Now I have a better way of dealing with those things and they don't come as, I would say, as strong, but like, it's so, I don't want to say it's weird. I guess it's not, but like, the way society looks at negative thoughts makes us feel ashamed. Like, people are sometimes ashamed when they experience jealousy. They're sometimes ashamed when they experience like madness and being mad. And though those things are not traditionally good thoughts, they're normal. Like, if somebody was to say to somebody else, like, dang, like, I was jealous of your work, but, I really tried hard and I did this and I did that. And, now I got to the point where I'm satisfied with myself. Nobody's going to listen to all the things that person said. They're just going to focus on the fact that the person said they were jealous. And jealousy is not necessarily a good thought, but yes, sometimes we may feel that towards people. And it's just, you know what I'm saying? It's just a thing. Like, there's this mindset that we always have to have positive thoughts. And if you have negative thoughts, you're a negative person. And I personally feel like those people who constantly have positive thoughts, right? So they consider those people who constantly suppress their negative emotions are like ticking time bombs. Those are the individuals that if it could be sometimes the smallest thing, they will explode. Because for so long, they weren't able to express themselves. For so long, they weren't able to be a human. Like, people don't realize you're trying to convince yourself to be a robot. Yes, I do always tell you guys, don't allow your emotions to control you to the point of not doing something that you know is good for you. So, of course, when you wake up in the morning, your body's going to convince you you're tired and you don't want to get up. Of course, when it's time to go to the gym, your body's going to convince you all of a sudden it has an ache or that you don't, you know what I'm saying, you don't want to go. But you still have to go. You still should go. I do it in a way where it's like I acknowledge how I feel. Like, yes, you might not feel good right now, or yes, you might not feel whatever, but it's still a task that has to get done. It's still something at hand that has to be done. And like I said, I acknowledge that it's not a good mood. I acknowledge that it's not a good feeling, but I also don't put this idea on myself. Like every single time I go to the gym, I have to have a smile on my face. And every single time no, I don't. And a lot of times too, I even acknowledge it to myself. Like, listen, I know you're not in the best mood right now, but listen, we're gonna do this. I talk to myself. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud that you made it to the gym today. I know the gym is hard right now. I know you're tired. I know you're frustrated, but we're gonna get through this. I know the same way I will talk to anybody else, but I don't have this mindset like I have to be positive and I have to be happy around this thing, because that's not true. And no matter how many times you try to convince yourself that you're so happy and you're so positive, eventually one day it's going to come out and you're going to bust. So I know that was a lot. I hope this video was helpful for you. I just wanted to make this because I don't want to give off on my channel toxic positivity. I don't want to give off on my channel like, oh, I'm always in a good mood, or you always should have good emotions, or like positive, because I just think as a people, as a society nowadays, we're not good at expressing ourselves, because we see people on social media being happy and living life and doing these things, and we don't realize a lot of those people are hurting. A lot of those people are sad. A lot of those people aren't doing well. But of course, they're not going to say it. They're not going to post it. We see people get a good job and we're like, oh my gosh, they must be so happy they got this job. Little do you know, that person just got promoted to manager and they want to cry. They didn't even want to start the job to begin with, and then they got promoted and they don't even know what to do with themselves, because now they don't know if they should leave, because now they make all this money and it supports their house and they don't know where they're going to make money if they leave. Like, there's so many things that people are going through on a day-to-day basis that you would never know. So like, this life that you have, this little bit of time that you have on this earth, you need to make sure you're happy. Like, that's what I'm committed to. I've realized I have to make sure I'm actually happy with the things that I do. And I also need to make sure I also have sadness sometimes. And I also have hurt sometimes. And like, it's the full life experience. So why would I take that away from myself? I can't allow myself to say, you always should be happy. You always, no, I always should go in the direction that I want to go into. I always should try to make sure that I'm satisfied with what I'm doing. And I know why I'm doing what I'm doing, and acknowledge the fact that I'm not going to feel good doing it. Like, it's so easy for us to do things that people want us to do and not feel good. But then when it comes to things that we know we should be doing for ourselves, as soon as we get a little bad feeling, I don't want to do it. That's not right. But if somebody else told you, we would love you if you did this, we would cheer for you if we did this, we would appreciate you if you did this, you would do it. Like, show yourself the same amount of respect, the same amount of care, the same amount of everything that you try to show for your exterior for other people. So thank y'all so much, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.